Good morning and welcome to beautiful Pickett, Wisconsin on the 21st day of June. It is the summer solstice and it is also Father's Day. On the stand today I've got an HB 61 engine. That's HB, not HP. And I got this engine, months ago. And I was going back to the eBay ad to figure out if it was new or used, and the listing is so old it doesn't have that information anymore, and I can't remember. When it came to me, it had a propeller and a spinner on it. Does that mean it's a used engine? Not necessarily, because the way it looks like a brand new engine. It could have just been mounted on a plane. But I mean, the engine to me looks brand new. But actually, as I turn this over, I see what looks like maybe a little bit of oil residue on the prop hub. So maybe this engine has been run. I don't know. All I know is I'm putting an APC 11.8 prop on it. And I've got an OS number 8 glow plug and some 5 to 7% fuel. And I'm going to give this engine a run and see how it operates. I've had these engines in the past and they seem pretty nice. The only thing I don't like about it is the size of the high-speed needle is pretty tiny. It doesn't have any way to extend the needle, put a needle valve extension on it or anything like that. So it's just going to be very tricky to make sure I keep my fingers out of the line of the prop. So with all that said, I've already done my preliminary carburetor setup on it. It's a beautiful day. I think it's like 66 degrees with a feels like temperature of 67. Very light breezes, just spectacular. So let's run an engine and see if this engine likes an OS number 8 plug or if it prefers something else. We'll have to find out. Okay, let's see how she takes a prime. Do I have the fuel? High-speed needle open? It's not taking a prime at all. That could be a problem. Sure, I had that set. So there's 1, 2.5 turns. And I am not seeing this engine take a prime at all. That would indicate that there is a leak someplace. And I'm not sure where it would be at this point because, like I said, this engine looks brand new. It looks like it's sealed up. Let me see if I can force prime it. So I forced a prime on it. Let's see if that'll actually enable this engine to run and start drawing fuel. Otherwise, this could be a pretty short video. Okay. All right, let's try this again and see what happens. I don't understand that. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think of all that. I don't know if my exhaust is... Yeah, my exhaust is loose, first of all. But that shouldn't affect the fact that it's not drawing fuel and running. That's remedied. Let's see if this thing will want to run again now. I know the low speed's rich. I was kind of waiting for it to die out there. So I'm going to close this low speed up just a little bit. Seems like it was running okay, just a little odd. So I put about 1/8 of a turn, maybe, on that low speed. It was a rather interesting start to this run, that's for sure. I believe that low speed's still a little bit rich. And I've got a throttle stop screw setting here, so it does have a throttle stop screw, but as you get closer to that stop point, the barrel gets a little bit tighter for some strange reason. So let's fire this thing up and see if I'm dialing it in any better here, at least as far as the low end. The high end doesn't seem too bad. So it's getting close there. I put that the battery on there at idle, and if the idle comes up, then it's telling me that it's a little bit lean, and it comes up and stays stable. So I'm going to lean it just a little bit more here. So what I want when I'm doing this type of thing is I want a stable idle about, say, just say ballpark 3,000 RPM. I want it to just sit there. And I want to see how long it'll sit there before it either starts to go up and die or it goes down and dies. And if it goes down and dies, I believe that means that it's too rich. And then if I put the battery on there and it holds stable and it picks up RPM, then I know for sure it's too rich. So that's kind of the methodology here for low speed tuning that I use. It's not to say it's the only way, but it's just what I use. And I may not have the throttle stop screw set at the ideal location either. Set it for about 3,000 RPM. So it picked up RPM a little bit, so it might still be a little bit lean or a little bit rich. Things happening here. I think I've got the throttle stop screw set too closed or too low of an idle speed, and I'm a little bit too rich still. Here the idle is quite stable. Well, now it starts to drop down. So there's this balancing act between throttle stop screw position setting. It's funny how that carb is so cold. And low speed setting. I think this thing is dialed in pretty good. I mean, can I make it better? Yes. Do I really feel like doing that? No, not really, because if it's a little bit rich like this, that would be a good transition over to trying to run this on swamp juice fuel. Okay, so that was a decent run. Had a rough start there. Apparently I didn't check the security of my muffler screws. And then of course the thing that was odd, I thought, was that it wasn't wanting to prime on its own. And it still doesn't seem to want to take a prime on its own just by covering up either the exhaust or the carb opening with it at full throttle. So that is kind of confusing to me, because usually that's indicative of an air leak somewhere if it's not going to draw a prime. However, when it was forcefully primed and it started running, you saw it ran. And if a two-stroke engine's got an air leak, it's not going to run, period. It's just not going to run. If it's got a leak here at the carb base or something else in the crankcase, it won't run. I mean, it has to have that vacuum to run. So I can't really explain why this thing isn't drawing fuel like that. I can't explain it, because it should be drawing fuel. So that was my initial concern was, oh man, it's not drawing fuel. And then of course the muffler screws weren't tight. After remedying the muffler screws, I mean, the engine runs pretty well. It's an HB. It's got an HB carb. It's the stock carburetor, so this is a completely stock engine. I mean, it's a decent runner. For its age, I can't tell you off the top of my head how old this design is, but it's a pretty old design. So it's a nice running engine, and you know, who knows, maybe we'll do a swamp juice fuel run with it now too.